Welcome back, everybody, to another new episode of Paranormal, the New Normal. I'm your host, as always, Jeremy, here trying to bring a little normalcy to this world. Does it ever happen? No, not often at all. It's sad. But we try, and as always, I bring a guest to help me on this epic quest I dare go on every freaking night. And my guest this week is Dr. Kristian Strang, metaphysical psychologist, author, and host of Awakening, the podcast, which I freaking love that name, but we'll get into that later. How you doing tonight, Dr. K?
I'm doing so good. I'm so happy to be here and really excited for the conversation we're about to have.
Me too, me too. And, well, we'll get into why I'm excited in a few minutes, but first things first, the same question I ask everybody on this show. What brought you down this path, this spiritual path that we are both on in different ways? What brought you down this path?
Hmm. Well, I wasn't looking for it, as is usually the case, but it was actually a health crisis. So I got really sick, couldn't get better. You know the story. I went to Western medicine. They were like, surgery. Oh, you should feel better. And then, of course, I didn't feel better. And so that really put me on this greater journey of wanting to figure out how to heal my body, how to feel better. And I find this a lot when people talk about their awakenings or getting on the paranormal path. It often can come from something like this. So you think you're just a normie living, in the matrix and working your 9 to 5 and like doing all the things that are expected of you when there's like this greater calling. So as I started to go down this path of trying to heal my body, I randomly or synchronistically met this woman, and we were at like a networking event, and we started talking, and she just happened to mention this healer that she knew in Brazil that did psychic surgeries and psychic healings. And as soon as she mentioned that, I knew I had to go. And she offhandedly mentioned she had always thought about taking people as a guide because she spoke Portuguese. And I said, I'll be the first person you take. And literally within 9 months, I was on a plane to Brazil to have a psychic surgery. And when I had that psychic surgery is when everything really unleashed for me. And that psychic surgery just kind of ripped away my normie personality and all of that. And I started seeing angels and having healing energy come out of my hands and synchronicities and psychic knowledge and all kinds of wild things happened to me. And that really changed my life forever. And that was back in 2008.
Ooh, okay. It's not often I get someone who's had their been on their spiritual journey that long. A lot of people I get are more newly into it. COVID seemed to be a big moment for a lot of people. It really did. But which I'm sure you know. But
Yes.
which is funny because we run in the same circle. So it's, yeah, like you were saying, this is a very common way for people to get into their spiritual path is through some horrible terminal or not terminal medical
Yes.
diagnosis that just makes them look for alternative healing methods because Western medicine has its limits and the insurance companies make sure of that. But we won't get into my hate for insurance companies. But we don't. My listeners already know about that and my hate for the medical world, so we won't get into that too much. But I mean, it's just a couple things to touch on there. Definitely psychic surgeon. I've heard it before, but I love hearing that term because I kind of part of me wants to have one work on me, even though there's nothing physically wrong with me spiritually. I wouldn't mind having it done just to see what the hell happens. I
Absolutely.
I've been told by mediums I'm an empath, and I would like to kind of awaken those abilities a little more. But it's I've been told give it time and meditate. I can't meditate, so I give it time. But I can't meditate for shit. I've tried so many times. But psychic surgeons are a whole. I swear to God, I gotta get one on this show eventually. I actually, I may have one before. I don't know if they actually call themselves that, but psychic surgeons. That's a whole fun topic I gotta get into someday. But angels, that's what I wanted to touch on, is because you said now you talk to angels, and I've had a lot of those on, but I love people that talk to angels because the first question I like to ask for that always is, what do you think angels are?
Oh, great question. Okay, and also I will say psychic surgeries are not that uncommon. So actually in my healing sessions now, the angels and guides will come in and perform a psychic surgery. And you can have one even if you don't have like something physically happening. And typically they'd have you place your hands on your heart or the entrance to your soul, and it can definitely give you some spiritual upgrades. So just wanted to plant that seed. That is a thing. And my understanding of angels is that they are divine beings who exist in a realm known as the angelic realm, which surrounds the earth and is part of the earth experience. There's this higher realm of the angelics. Now, there are many, my understanding is there are many realms in this universe, and that there are often angels, beings of the light that will often incarnate on earth and support those who are on earth on their path. So this is not necessarily just an earth thing. This is, angelic beings of or beings of light is how I see them. When they came to me in Brazil, I would see an outline of golden light in different geometrical shapes that would hover above my body, or I'd see them outside doors. So my understanding is that angels are beings of light that work with the earth, but also other planes of consciousness in the universe.
Interesting. And yeah, I've heard the geometrical shapes thing before, and it makes me curious because yes, I mean when you say realms, I mean dimensions is another word commonly used for that, but I've been told the number 17 comes up a lot with dimensions on this show. I don't know why. I don't know if that's accurate. I can't say I've ever traveled to another dimension myself, but I've heard 17 a lot. So I think, and that was from a lucid dreamer slash I'm gonna forget the other fucking term, but sleepwalker basically. And I mean 17 dimensions is sounds right because 17 is a magic number for any juggalos out there, you get it. But 17 is a magic number, so I mean I get that. And but do you believe the angels are kind of the biblical form, or do you believe they are possibly extraterrestrial?
Yeah, so I love this question because I don't really believe like aliens or extraterrestrials are like so different and weird and like wacky. I believe that that's what, yeah, there's all different kinds of beings from all different dimensions or realms of consciousness and planes of consciousness that exist. So I don't see angels as any different than like what someone might classify as an angel, I'm sorry, an extraterrestrial or an alien. And I also don't feel like weirded out by ETs or aliens. I don't think that they're anything other than beings from other realms or other dimensions.
See, when it comes to extraterrestrials, and I love that we're getting into this early in the show, I really do. Extraterrestrials to me they're twofold. I think there are the ultra terrestrial versions that are what we're talking about, that are from other dimensions, and they are similar to us. I just had Stephen and Leslie Shaw on, who are a pretty famous pair alien abductee survivors, and his family's been abducted for like 3 generations. But they have a belief that when the Great Flood happened, that every mythology has in their stories, that a lot of humans went underground, and those are the more advanced humans that basically became these ultra terrestrials or were from these ultra terrestrials, something along those lines. They turned us cavemen into some cavemen into smart people, and they left other cavemen to be dumb, and basically, and the ones that stayed above ground are what eventually became most humans. So I think extraterrestrials are twofold. I think there's ultra terrestrials, which are the ones that were made or joined the ultra terrestrials millennia ago. And I believe that there are also extraterrestrials, such as possibly reptilians, that are not exactly the nicest things on Earth. I mean, no. The Palladians, I've heard nothing but good things about. The Arcturians, I've heard nothing but good things about. But reptilians are scary. Hashtag Hillary Clinton, but
I've had some dreams actually in my dream travel where I've seen the reptilians and literally just seen them like put on a human head and take off the human head and reveal their reptilian nature. So I mean, it is fascinating this deep dive into all the different realms of consciousness, all the different kinds of beings that are here. I feel like we're on the journey, and we talked about this a little bit right before we started, that since 2020, like people are really awakening to the fact that, there's more than just humans, and this is a human avatar. It doesn't mean you're just a human, right? So there's a lot of different expressions of souls and beings that can be here on Earth. And I think that's really exciting for us to recognize that. And it gives us the opportunity to kind of understand our reality more, of like why we just really resonate with some beings and why we don't with others. And for me, I know it really helped me understand the reptilian agenda, what we're doing here, why we are here on Earth, how we can support this place in being a more extraordinary version of reality, as opposed to being in that victim mode and being sort of swept away in that reptilian or artificial agenda that's going on.
I agree 100%. And what's going on, Lonnie? Glad to have you watching, buddy. But I will say, what the hell was I thinking? Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, reptilians are interesting. We've done on a podcast I used to do that was a discussion paranormal podcast. We've really deep dived into them, and I mean, it's scary how many news clips are out there of like anchors on the news that their eyes close horizontally instead of vertically, and it's just kind of creepy. But you have to catch it. Like you really have to pause at the right time and clip it. But I mean, it happens, and it's creepy. I mean, I don't know. I mean, reptilians. I mean, I just thinking about them, like, but I mean, the grays aren't exactly neutral either. I don't think, but that's a whole nother topic. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, but well, I mean, and we call them angels if they're ultra terrestrials, though, and like a lot of people have called them angels. I mean, that's what a lot of us believe the biblical angels were actually ultra terrestrials or aliens that were appearing to people, humans. I mean, maybe Jesus Christ was an alien. I don't freaking know, but it's not past the realm possibility. It's not past the realm, but I. And it's funny because you said like we're just human avatars, which kind of brings me to my next question, and good segue there. What I mean, do you believe in reincarnation? I'll start off there because it kind of builds up.
Wow, I love that you asked that question, because I have a book that's coming out at the time of this. This is all happening on Wednesday. That's called The Angelic's Afterlife. So,
Mm.
yes, I do, based on what I have been shown through my daily meditation practice. So, what happened when I had the psychic surgery, what in 2008, is that then I started meditating every day. I, like you, Jeremy, could not meditate. I tried, I was frustrated, I could not make it happen. But after that psychic surgery, it was like I was a kind of a different version of myself. And suddenly I was able to do that with guided meditations. And so what happened for me was just really incredible to, I lost kind of where I was going with that. Dang it. I'm looking at your sandwich. I'm like, what are you eating? I should have brought food with me. I didn't know we could eat on the podcast. This is so awesome.
I typically don't like to, but it's becoming a habit lately. But yeah, actually went to a farm. I got some fresh lamb sausage today, so.
Oh my gosh, amazing. I'm like, wait, I should have brought my dinner. This is so good. Can you back me up on the question? We were talking about reincarnation. That's what it was. Okay.
Mhm.
So, through my daily meditation practice, I started being shown the timelines. And we're programmed to believe that time is linear, and time is actually not linear. It's going backwards and forwards at the same time. So often in my healing practice, we'll pick up on multiple incarnations that a soul has lived. So multiple incarnations that they've lived, past, present, simultaneous, future, that we need to deactivate or disassociate or activate for them. So I have seen both through my daily meditation practice and through my energy medicine healing practice this concept of multiple incarnations, Early on in my spiritual awakening journey, I read Michael Newton's work, which I highly recommend if people are interested. And Michael Newton wrote Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls, where he interviewed thousands of humans in a hypnotic state and took them into hypnosis and actually was able to get information about their lives in between lives and their previous incarnations. I think maybe he accessed some future incarnations as well, but I'm not certain. So I really love Michael Newton's work on this topic, and it's mirrored what I have found. In my latest book, The Angelic's Afterlife, which I mentioned comes out on Wednesday, we talk about angelic walk-ins. So I don't know if that's something you're interested in or want to talk about, but I do believe in reincarnation, to answer your question. And I also believe something that's happening more frequently since 2020 is angelic walk-ins, where there'll be an agreement between two souls and angelic will actually walk into the existing avatar body.
Okay. We are definitely going to touch on that in a minute. We definitely freaking out hard because I have not heard that term yet to this date, and I freaking love it. And I have an idea of what it is, but I freaking love it already. But I got to ask this first, though. Do you believe? Okay, well, I'm just going to say what mine is, and then I'll let you go on yours. But this is something I've been told different versions of, and I kind of form my own version of it for reincarnation. To me, reincarnation is extraterrestrial based, and we basically when we pass on, we basically go to a DMV in the sky in space somewhere or in another dimension. Who the hell knows? And at that point, we basically just are waiting for our next chance to come down here. There's goals, there's things you have to accomplish each life, and basically it's very almost Buddhist, almost Taoist like beliefs, but I kind of feel like that's what it is because I feel like past lives are a thing, past life regressions are a thing. We've all been here before, so I feel like that's what it is. I feel like it's a DMV in the sky, best way to put it. But
I love that.
I kind of want to hear what your interpretation of reincarnation is because I have to go play an angel to a little girl right now. So while you tell me that, I'm gonna go play an angel to a little girl real fast.
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. Okay, so my understanding with reincarnation, and again, I really recommend if folks are super interested in this to check out Michael Newton's work because it's all case studies of interviews between Michael leading these hypnotized humans through this whole process, and they will share about their experience. And I like Jeremy's DMV in the sky scenario. But what I found through my daily meditation practice, through reading work like Michael Newton's, and just going on my own exploration in my energy medicine practice, we've had lifetimes come up from 10,000 years back. I mean, so very specific lifetimes. We've had themes of lifetimes. Often the soul is working through a theme. And so there'll be like this soul wound that we keep experiencing over and over again that will need to be addressed in this incarnation. So my understanding to your point, Jeremy, is that when we leave this body, it's literally like closing our eyes here and opening, when we open our eyes up, we're in the DMV in the sky, which I like. But I've shown that it's a realm right outside of Earth where we meet with our spiritual team and our higher self, and we do a life review and we look at what worked really well for us in this incarnation. We look at what we didn't do so well. And then we start to talk about what will be our focus for the next time we incarnate. Earth is a really masterful place because there's so many seductions here. There's so many temptations. There's so much we can get distracted by, caught up in. We can get caught, trapped out in the artificial matrix, just thinking we're just human, forgetting our divine origin or our extraterrestrial origin, whatever terminology you want to use. So I do see us going, we have this life review, then we get clear about what we didn't do well that we want to do again. And often we'll wait to come back so that we can meet up with other of our soul connections, soulmates, soul family, so that we can all be together in another lifetime.
Oh, twin flames definitely exist, and we do wait to come back with them. I mean, the whole Romeo and Juliet thing kind of sticks throughout our lives. But, and it's funny because as Dean Graves, who wrote Chatting with the Arcturians, said, Earth is a second chance planet. I mean, we get more than a second chance even, but Earth is a second chance planet because we always have another chance to come back and fix what we didn't do right in the first life.
Yeah.
So, which I love that. I mean, it's funny because I literally have only had two guests who actually mentioned the Arcturians and talking to them, and it's like, and it's a new species to me. When I love when I hear about new extraterrestrial species, but apparently they're kind of like if you're a Star Wars fan, they're kind of like the Camino aliens. That's what they look
Oh,
like. But
okay.
which I love that. I love that as a Star Wars fan. But I wonder if they're good at cloning too. But I to me it's just I don't know. It definitely reincarnation is definitely true. I whether our theories are right, I never will know. I never will know. I don't think, but at least until I die, then we'll see. But if I if I even remember what's happening, but now I gotta go into what you said. I believe you called it angel walk-ins. I kind of have to go into that now because I'm curious. It's all freaking hell, and this show is about promoting your new book, so gotta love it. And what are angel walk-ins? I kind of have an idea of what they might be, but I'm kind of curious to hear your explanation.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. I'm so happy you asked that question. I love that we're having this conversation. So my specialty is really angels, the angelics, as you all may have realized because of my experience since my psychic surgery and angels started coming to me. So I really do also want to say, Jeremy, that if you're interested, if you or anyone is interested in connecting with any dimension of consciousness or any being, any type of being that you're interested in, you just have to ask. So you just make a true request in like a prayerful state and say, I want to connect with the Arcturians or I want to connect with whoever, whatever, they will come to you. You are a divine being and what you ask for is always answered. So I want to share that. And then to answer your question about the angelic walk-ins. So if a soul is on their journey with Earth and let's say they're becoming really discouraged or disheartened, or they're just sort of over the Earth experience and there is like a real desire to just kind of be done with it, their soul and their spiritual team can have a meetup, can have a conversation during the dream state in the astral realms, and they can negotiate and work out what's called an angelic walk in, which is where then another soul, an angelic being, would choose to trade places with them, so to speak. And so I go into this in greater detail in my book, The Angelic's Afterlife, which is out on Wednesday. And so I talk more about how that happens. But there's literally an agreement from both souls. And then the angelic walk in happens where that angel soul then walks into the existing human avatar and picks up where they left off. Now, they still have access to a lot of the memories, and obviously they're in that body that they've walked into. So they will have memories that upload and download. They may have what seems like slight amnesia on certain topics, but it usually doesn't take much for them to access whatever it is they're supposed to know. We do have examples of this with some prominent kind of spiritual teachers. There is the theory, at least, or the belief that Eckhart Tolle is an angelic walk-in, and so is Byron Katie. And there's another gal, Claire Candy Hughes, who's also an angelic walk-in. These are people that are out about, that it's come out that they have had a walk-in experience. I think there's a lot more of them. I know a gentleman in my sort of local-ish community, and he had like a near-death experience. And literally he is like, there's an angel. He is an angel. I mean, his eyes shine. His whole life changed after this experience. So often an NDE or a near-death experience can be when the angelic being will then walk into the existing body. So this is becoming more known about, and I believe we'll see more of this and hear more about this over time as well.
See, that's okay. Well, I am sorry for the pop culture reference I'm about to make, but I am now calling angelic walk-ins, pulling a Castiel, and that will be part of the title of this episode. Just saying, but because that's basically what reminds me of is the whole Castiel storyline of Supernatural. That's basically what it reminds me of, and I mean, I believe it truly can happen. And where the hell were these angelic walk-ins when I was in high school and hated life? That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking here. Come on, give me a sign. But yeah, but it's interesting. I mean, because I mean, you kind of think like it'd be the people who are the heavy religious people, the heavy Christians, Catholics, that would be the ones to receive this because they'd be asking for it. But it could happen to anybody, no matter their faith or their creed or what they believe.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I know that there's something special that's happening in those circumstances where both spiritual teams are coming together and negotiating, that this soul really has taken it as far as they could. Obviously, Jeremy, if you had that walk-in, you wouldn't necessarily be doing this amazing podcast and like doing all the incredible things you've done here. So it's like
or did I? And that's why I'm doing it.
Or did you? Yeah.
I mean, I've always been told I'm angelic in some ways. What can I say? But I've also been told I'm a demon by some people, so I don't freaking know. But it goes both ways. But I mean, depends who you ask, I guess. But I mean, who really knows? I mean, I believe these things can happen, and I mean, we are just human avatars, so something could take over us. I mean, possessions happen. I mean, yes, demonic possessions are more the ones that are talked about because why wouldn't they be? They sell tickets, they sell books, so why wouldn't they be talked about more? But if it's yin yang, if evil can possess us, why can't good?
That's a great question. Yeah. And often we find with the other sort of takeover, there isn't an agreement happening at a soul level. We've got drug induced states, or we've got some kind of thing that's happening, trauma that is creating that scenario. So with the angelic walk-in, it is a mutually consenting experience. So no one's being taken over without their permission for that to happen and without an agreement being worked out for that to be so.
There you go. I mean, there you go, folks. It's kind of like a good date versus a bad date. There's permission.
Yeah.
There's permission. So, I mean, which makes sense. And honestly, if you look at it, the whole angels versus demons method, but which, I mean, yeah, I fully go for it. And I am honestly impressed that angelic walk-ins, that's going to be a new thing in this show a lot. I'm guaranteeing you that right now.
Yeah.
But
I think so.
I saw something else on your site that I wanted to bring up because one, I'm a nerd, I'm a geek, but superpowers guide. I gotta ask, what is that about? Because I saw the word superpowers and I was like, I can be an X-Men? What?
I love that. Yes. So in 2015, I had what I call my second spiritual awakening, which is basically where I started spontaneously channeling from the angelic realm, linked to Mary Magdalene, Jeshua, the one known as Jesus. I was not trying to do this. I did not take a class. It literally just spontaneously started happening to me. And so, and through, of course, my soul agreed to have that experience, but my personality was a little bit overwhelmed by it. But through that process, I basically was a hermit for about 6 months and was meditating every day, all day. And through that process, I was given a 5-step practice that humans can do to help them release their own trauma, limiting beliefs, and fears so that their superpowers can come online. So essentially, the only blockage to you being your superpowered self, your superhero self, is your wounds, traumas, limiting beliefs, and fears. And so the more that we deactivate these things, and we literally can deactivate them, we've given consent to take on so many things from the matrix, the artificial matrix, that are not ours to carry. So it's a process where you're taken through these several practices that will help unwind and untangle any of those limitations. And then that's all you have to do. Then your superpowers will just start coming online. Just like for me with the psychic surgery, I started having warm energy coming out of my palms. I started knowing things that you couldn't possibly know. That happened after like a huge part of my personality that was limiting was removed. So we already are incredibly gifted beings. We just don't know it because of the programs and the traumas and the wounds that we've taken on. So I've given humans a process that they can use to set themselves free. So their intuition, all their different gifts, their healing gifts, their gifts of prophecy, whatever it is, can come online more fully in their life.
So, okay, just to clarify for all my audience here. For example, they called me the juggernaut in college because I was unstoppable with the ladies, but we can't actually get laser beam eyes. We can't get super strength. It's more unlocking your psychic, spiritual abilities, empath, medium, clairvoyant, clairaudient. Take your pick. I mean, there's more I can't think of at this moment, but there's more.
And I mean, you may have the cloak of invisibility that you learn how to wear. You may have like increased sight and vision, like spiritual visions, prophetic visions. Yes. So I don't want to put limitations on it that you can't have like the superhero superpowers. If that's your path, maybe you will. But yes, I'm speaking more to the psychic gifts, spiritual gifts, and they really are. These are superpowers. Being an empath is a superpower. Being a medium is a superpower. These are superpowers that many of us have, a lot more of us have than we realize. And it doesn't really take that much to unlock them if we can just be consistent.
I mean, yeah, I've been told that everybody has abilities of some kind. They just have to learn how to unlock them. That we're all born with these abilities, but so I mean, I don't know. I mean, but for people like me, it's hard to unlock because I've been told meditation is key, and meditation is just unobtainable to me. I don't have the mind that, I mean, okay, I never thought I had this, but I was told by multiple podcasters I work with I'm ADHD positive. So that's probably why I can't meditate, is because my mind's always moving to something else. But
well, I mean, Jeremy, I absolutely think that you can meditate, that anyone can meditate, but you might have to start at like 5 minutes, and it might have to be a guided experience, or maybe you try a walking meditation or something like that. I don't believe that the whole point is to be like without thought. My understanding and my experience of meditation is literally just like thinking it as if you're plugging into your source self, to your superpowered self, to your higher self. And you're sitting down and you're plugging into that higher self. And then you're just going to see what comes in as you do that. Now, there's lots of practices I would give with that, like psychic protection, other things I would recommend, so that you're only, because, there's all different dimensions of consciousness here on Earth, meaning there's all different kinds of beings, from reptilians to angels. So we get to choose who we connect with. So you can sit in meditation and you can say, my intention is to connect with my higher self. And you set the timer for 5 minutes, 7 minutes, you put on some ambient music, and you're meditating. If your intention is to meditate and connect in with the highest version of you, you can do that. I do have a free meditation on my site. It's 11 minutes. It's called the Golden Age Visualization Meditation, where I take you through a process, and it's a meditation, but you're active in it. You're utilizing the power of your mind to create. So maybe just something like that, Jeremy, would be more aligned for you than trying to do like a traditional, I'm not going to think anything for 20 minutes or whatever it is. I don't believe we have to go that route. That may be an older version of meditation. Also, over time, your meditation practice changes and shifts. When I first started, I could barely do it. And now I will sit for as long as my body wants to. Sometimes it's at 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. Sometimes it's 10 minutes if that's all I have. So I just recommend every day sitting with the intention to meditate. It doesn't have to be perfect. There is no perfect. You just sit with that intention. A guided meditation is really helpful. And then just keep doing it every day, and your experience of it will change.
See, that's the thing, is I worked with a Reiki practitioner for a good 6-7 months in 2023. And she did meditations with me, and yes, I mean, even when she was doing them guided, I still would kind of, lose attention here or there, pick up my phone, and it's just the way it goes. But she gave me one to listen to at night, and like me and the wife would do it at night, like every night to try to, because it does work. Reiki works. I'm not gonna lie and say it doesn't, because it truly works. It's amazing the way you can actually feel it going through your body. I never thought it was possible. I learned a lot that 6 months, but the fact that someone talking and to music over a Zoom call, a StreamYard call, could make me come to tears was unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. And that fact I could feel the energy leaving my body was mind altering. It shifted my perspective on everything and made this podcast even better because it opened me up to more possibilities. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. I kind of stopped doing the meditation at night though, because it got to the point where my wife and I would just be so tired every night that it's just like, I don't feel like listening to it tonight. I just want to go to sleep. And it just, you fall out of the habit, and then you never go back to it. I mean, I still have it saved to my like computer and everything, of course, or my phone too. But it's just, I don't know. Maybe I should get back to it. I stopped all the practices she had me doing because things seemed to be going better for a while. But because I met her at a good time in my life, and things got dark. And then when things got dark, and then like her practices really helped me. But let me ask you this though, because when do you think? Because I've heard multiple, and since you do a podcast called Awakening the Podcast, I've heard multiple different times for this. Because I've heard spiritual awakenings really started for the mass population in when the hell is the set calendar? In 2012 and 2017, and then I heard 2020. Those are the 3 years I hear the most. Which one do you think it is?
2012 is what I've been shown. So my first spiritual awakening happened in 2008, which was really preparing me to be able to support more and more souls as they were awakening in 2012. So we had a huge wave in 2012 of awakening. And then I did see 2024 being another sort of repeat energy of the 2012 frequency, but at another level. Certainly 2020 was a huge awakening for many people about the artificial matrix and about who's really running the show on earth and how we can, reestablish our power as divine beings. So that was a big one as well. But 2012 is what I've been shown was the big mass awakening, mass ascension started, and we've been continuing to ascend. And then 2024 is another very powerful, potent year where there's a lot of repeating of themes from 2012 that didn't get resolved. So you might even look at your life and reflect on, what was happening for me in 2012, what didn't get resolved, what was up for me at that time, because you may see the reemergence of those themes in 2024 and they're wanting your attention.
Which I like that. If this is another year like that, it could explain a lot of my own life as well as other people's life I know. Because it seems like 2023 wasn't a good year. For me, for a lot of people, it was not a good year. And in the world, it seemed like the world was going to hell in 2023. I mean, is Biden the Antichrist? Is Stahl the Antichrist? I don't know, or not Stahl. Yeah, Stahl. Who are the fucking president of Russia? Putin. Too many fucking similar names. But like I don't know what the hell's going on in the world, but it seemed like in 2024 things kind of cooled down and got better. So, but then again, I've also heard that 2027 is going to be a big year as far as extraterrestrial news in the world goes. So, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot coming up, I think, and especially the next 3 years, there's a lot coming up. If they admit Bigfoot's real in 2027, I'll be the happiest man alive. Because yes, there has been a female scientist in California who has supposedly found proof, but well, the government shut her down. We will find out, but
most likely. But if someone has a desire to connect with Bigfoot or any energy, again, you can ask. If you're clear in your heart when you're asking, and it's not just like some silly fantasy, but like you really legit feel a connection with these energies, whether it's Bigfoot, the Arcturians, Andromedians, Pleiadians. You just ask. Angelics, Syrians, ask to be connected with them and to know that they're really here, and connect with them in whatever way serves you. And it will happen. So I think this is so important. I want people to be so empowered to recognize that paranormal is the new normal. I love your podcast title. It really is. And then it doesn't have to be this thing that's only reserved for like special people, or that we need other people to figure it out for us. We really can connect with these energies, and we can ask for divine wisdom. And, yes, we're in a very powerful time in consciousness, and 2025 is another shifting point. 2030 is another powerful shifting point. And then I'm seeing around 2036, we might have the chance to experience collectively more of a golden age together if we're all making choices that allow for that. So we are on a really fast-paced path as a collective, and there does seem to be two kind of realities that are happening, sort of the split reality that we started seeing happen in 2020, where some people are living in fear and extreme, control by the agenda, and others are living in more freedom and expansion. So we get to choose. And I really want people to feel so empowered that you can make paranormal the new normal for yourself by just asking with a whole heart and a willing heart to have these experiences and to know the truth of this earth reality that we're in.
Exactly. Exactly. And Joe, to answer your question, I am a girl dad, and I have a daughter who likes to get carried to bed multiple times a night. And this is one of those nights where she doesn't like to let me podcast in peace, and she likes to just yell my name until I get up and carry her back to bed. So, because she likes the attention, and yeah, exactly, Joe. The power of the collective. That's what it's about. I mean, I think the world is heading to a renaissance of sorts, but not the renaissance we had before. I do take my mic with me. I can hear everything. I just don't need anybody to hear me talking to my kids. That's private. But the power of the collective is coming. And I mean, like I said, the renaissance is coming. It's not going to be a renaissance like we've had in the past. It's going to be a spiritual renaissance, and it's going to change this world 150 fucking percent. And it's going to be for the better. I wait for this day. I'll be in my 40s. I'll be an old man by that point. But I mean, it's just going to be
easy, Jeremy. Easy.
All right.
You're 46. Come on.
Hey, I'm turning 36 in 6 days, so yeah. But we're not far. But yes, my birthday is a Sunday. Feel free to send gifts, people. But
happy birthday!
Yes, in six days. And if you all come check out the Asylum with Harley and Joker on Paranormal Network as well, I am having a birthday show of some kind. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm kind of scared, but it's happening. And I look forward to this renaissance of spiritualness coming forth, because it's going to be blissful and peaceful, and the world will be a better place. And maybe we'll finally recognize that there are extraterrestrials and extraterrestrials among us. And yeah, if I'm as old as I act, then I'm freaking 75, dude. Come the hell on. Okay, that's a lie. I freaking was bouncing the bounce house with my kids today. They got for their birthday party this past weekend. So yeah, I don't act like 75. I act like I'm fucking 20, even though my body's gonna kill me tomorrow for doing that. But I already know. But I already freaking know. But it's, I don't know. Things are coming. But I want to talk more about my guest, of course. It's not just about me. It's not just about the world. It's about the guest, always. And I'm kind of curious about some of these books she wrote, because I'm looking through all these book titles earlier, and I'm like, one, holy shit, that's a lot of books. But it really is. But I want to kind of touch more on the love letters from Mary Magdalene one, because everybody knows who Mary Magdalene is, or they should at least, if they went to any kind of religious organization when they were younger. But what is this? Is this book like supposed actual found? Well, I mean, as you know, you said you talked to Mary Magdalene, so I'm not going to assume it's letters that were found in like artifacts or something. But
I wish.
Oh, if those artifacts, okay, if those artifacts do exist, one, they're in the Vatican basement.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Two, if those artifacts did exist, we would never see them. But
that's right.
Because the Vatican sucks.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, well, I believe that's really the source of the artificial matrix and the negative agenda. All starts there. And actually, in Love Letters from Mary Magdalene, she speaks to that. So it's actually channeled love letters. So there's 33 channeled love letters. Is it 33 or 22? I can't recall. But these are channeled love letters from my connection with Mary Magdalene. She actually talks about, there are letters that she wrote with Yeshua, but they are the church is in possession of those and never to be seen in our eyes. So but she does give us the information, more information about who Yeshua really was, who she really was when she was on earth, what their mission is, why their mission is still a priority, and then those of us called to the spiritual mission of light, what we can do to help this collective shift in consciousness. I love that you call it, Jeremy, a spiritual renaissance. I think that's just a beautiful framework for it. So yes, I wrote this book, or I channeled it back in 2022. It was it was definitely, I've written 13 books. It was the most difficult book for me to write because there was so much disclosure that she was giving about her and Yeshua's life that I was really like kind of freaked out to share because I didn't know how people would respond to it. But not surprisingly, I've had so many people message me from all over the world and say, I always knew this was true. I always suspected this was what was really happening. So it's been really like a gift in that way. But it took me like a year and a half, to really work up the courage to bring this book to print and put it out there because I had like my own just personal, like, oh my God, can we really talk about this? Because it really goes to the root of like the foundation of Christianity and of the church and really dispels so many of those stories.
well, shit. All right. I mean, and you keep saying Yeshua, which I mean, I I've heard the term before, but no one's ever actually explained what that's supposed to be. Is it supposed to be like the ultra extraterrestrial version of Jesus, or is that supposed to be something else? I mean, please elaborate.
Yeah, so my understanding is that the man that we all have been programmed to believe is Jesus the Christ. His real human avatar name was Yeshua ben Joseph. So I use that name often to distinguish between the character that the church created that they called Jesus Christ. So that Jesus Christ is like a created caricature based on the life of the man Yeshua ben Joseph. Is that more clear? Does that make
Yes,
sense?
okay. It's exactly what I thought you meant, but I just wanted to
Yeah, cool.
clarify. I want clarification. That's all.
No,
Because
perfect.
I mean, and I actually like that better. Yeshua sounds so much more badass than Jesus. I do.
Right?
I might get crucified for saying that, but you do what you do. And I gotta, okay, I gotta comment on this because I saw this on your site, and I'm like, after looking at the pictures and everything while I'm making the link and everything, I'm like, okay, this kind of makes sense. The Hot Goddess Healer Masterclass. I mean, I could see where the name came from, but I gotta kind of like, what does that entail for all those who might be interested?
Well, it was something fun we did last year, and we've kind of been, we've created some other, me and my team have created some other events similar to that, but really wanting women to be in their empowerment and really embracing like their goddess nature that we all like, that lives within all women. And so Mary Magdalene is sort of like I call her the OG goddess. There's been all these, things said about her. Of course, the church first branded her as a prostitute, and then later, because there was so much evidence, they're like, oh no, she's a saint, and then they made Mary Magdalene feast day. And, there's this beautiful expansion that is available, I believe, for women to really claim their divine self, even though there's been so much dysfunctional programming about what it means to be a woman and to have a woman's body and how we express our goddessness on earth. So I kind of tongue in cheek called it Hot Goddess. And we did some master classes and we talked about how to really activate your goddess self, everything from, nutrition to physical health to our spiritual health, of course. So I really like to bring in this, we're not just extraterrestrials. We're not just humans. We're both. And so how do we live on earth as this, what I call divine human self or God goddess self? And so that's really anything that I create, whether it's a class or a workshop or any one-on-one work I do with women, it's really to support the books I write. It's really to support everyone in their own awakening of their divine human self. So we're not just treating ourselves in these compartmentalized ways, like, oh, I'm just a lowly human, I don't know anything, or, I'm this divine, untouchable being. We're both. And so that's what the hot goddess work has been about.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love as someone who has a big ego, I freaking love the name of it, but because I do that type of shit all the time. and like in literally in every podcast I advertise or in any way, it always says your favorite paranormal podcaster because
It's
true.
awesome. I love that.
It's
Yeah.
true. It's true. But
I
I
love
mean,
it.
and this, and I'm looking at it like I was looking at it in the Blessed Book gift set. Like, is this actually like a romantic fiction series, or is it just? Oh, it is nice.
Yeah. So I have
We've had
two.
I
Yeah, go ahead.
we've had a lot of supernatural romantic fiction writers on here, and my listeners love them. So,
Oh, that's so awesome. I didn't know that. That's amazing. Yeah, I have two supernatural romance series. The first one was called The Quest, and that's a 3-book series. And then the second one is The Angelics. And we just are releasing, as I mentioned, book 2 on Wednesday. And then that'll be 3 to 4 books as well. And so, yeah, it's like twin flame, divine counterpart, love, and a mystical, magical adventure that they go on. And of course, the second book is about angelic walk-ins and reincarnation and how that really works. But it's all couched in a really fun, romantic, mystical story.
well, who doesn't love a damn good romance book? I mean, come
I
on
mean,
now.
come on, come
I mean,
on.
I ain't no fan of 50 Shades of Grey because that shit's fake as shit. But give me a real romance book and
Yes.
damn, like, which. All right, I'm gonna bring it up because I'm gonna talk about much of the show, but I have to bring it up every time I have a writer of those type of books on here. Are are you aware, one, that there are probably I stopped scrolling through the Amazon pages after like the 5th page of the search, but there are probably 250 plus Bigfoot erotica series out there.
I had no idea. Are you serious?
Yeah, I was looking up Bigfoot books one day on Amazon like 10 years ago, and I literally just came. I stumbled down a rabbit hole that I never have been the same since I did, and I literally even downloaded some that were free on Kindle just to you know test the waters, see what the hell it is, and some of them are actually pretty damn well written, I will say, but some of them are very graphic, but
There's something for
uh,
everyone.
there is, but I mean, whenever I have I've had werewolf romance writers on here and stuff like that, and I always have to bring up the fact that Bigfoot erotica exists, which it's I used to get made fun for this on another podcast I was on, but I mean, the fact that they exist and there's so many different people that write them, it just like, where do you find this stuff? Like, where do you find the ideas behind your books? Like, it has to be based on something you've heard or saw somewhere. Like, I don't know what's going on with this world. I really don't. But
Great question. What is going on? That's such a niche, too. That's such a very specific niche. I mean, I believe there's so many different dimensions of consciousness, and we can tap into all different kinds of realities. So who knows? I know for me, my books come in through meditation, and I'll just get the whole, like storyline and take it from there. But that is so fascinating. Now I'm going to have to go check them out. Thank you.
I mean, it's, I mean, yes, anybody who's into the Bigfoot phenomenon knows that the whole Bride of the Woods mythos is a thing, that Bigfoot sometimes take human brides and use them for mating purposes for some reason. But I guess there's not enough Bigfoot females out there. I don't know, but
Yeah, what is that about? We need to
I
know.
mean they've used it in Bigfoot movies too and stuff like that whole idea. But Willow Creek, Bobcat Gold wrote a hell of a movie, Goldthwait movie, Bobcat Goldthwait. It's a found footage Bigfoot movie. At the end of it, like literally, there is a Bride of the Woods in the movie, and she is stand there topless, and it's I'm not gonna say fully disturbing. It's kind of hot, but I mean, it's just a little disturbing. A little disturbing based on what's happening in the rest of the scene, but it has its moments. But damn good movie, actually. One of the only found footage movies I ever liked. But I mean, because literally 99% of the movies not about Bigfoot. Literally 1% of the movies about Bigfoot, but it's advertised as a Bigfoot movie. But it's interesting. But and of course you'll never see the creature because why would you? But just like life, why would you?
So evasive.
Exactly. But and possibly he has powers of some kind because it's extraterrestrial. But I don't know these things for sure, so I can't really hype them up.
The
But
invisibility cloak is real. So yeah, that could be just he's masterful at that.
god damn, Bigfoot having one of the Deathly Hollows. I swear to God. But all right, well, in the last few minutes of this, I do want to let you talk about your podcast a little bit. So let's talk about Awakening, the podcast. What is your show about? And well, basically, just tell my audience what you like to talk, what you guys do in your show.
Thank you, Jeremy. You're so generous. Thank you for asking about this. So, Awakening the podcast is my podcast. It's been running since 2018. And the premise of it is that awakening is not a one time event. So, I had like my big awakening in 2008 with the psychic surgery, but there's also like so many awakenings that happen for us throughout a lifetime. So, I had my second one in like 2015. But then what about the 2020 awakening that, so many people we collectively had about what's going on with the agenda here? And there are awakenings that are happening every day for us if we're paying attention, where the divine is revealing itself to us. Divine beings are revealing themselves to us every single day if we're willing to awaken. So on that podcast, we talk about different aspects of awakening. I share an oracle reading once a month where there's guidance on how to best, navigate the month. So we kind of take we know there's astrology and all different kinds of other ways we can look at this universe, but we're really looking at accessing wisdom from that divine or angelic connection. And then occasionally we'll do once a year, I do like an interview series where we bring on other divine beings to talk about how they're supporting creating an awakening, or how they're living, an awakened life. And then we also talk about how to create the next golden age together. And we give tips and resources for how to do that. So that's the premise of the show, is that we can awaken at any time, and there's all different kinds of things to awaken to. And I'm highlighting that or having guests where we're talking about it.
Oh, there you go, folks. And well, where can they find this podcast? Where can they find you if they want to find you? Just at this point, please promote yourself to the fullest and tell my audience where they can find everything you do.
Thank you. My website is sacred-spirituality.org, and that's where you can receive free meditations, free chapters to my books, free experiences of all kinds on there. We've got free recipes, all kinds of good stuff for you guys. So you can check out everything that I offer. And then you can have access to the podcast. There's a link right up there where you can click on that. You can also find the podcast on my YouTube channel. It's on iHeartRadio and everywhere podcasts can be found as well, iTunes and all of those places. But I always say that the main portal to my work is sacred-spirituality.org. And that's where you can find everything. Also, you can find me on Amazon as well, where all of my books are. So thank you so much, Jeremy. It was so fun to have this conversation with you. I love that your daughter, I think she was just feeling the angelic vibes and she wanted in on it. So I'm sending her love and a peaceful night of sleep.
Oh, please do. And I mean, yeah, I don't know if she's feeling the angelic vibes or she's just a day's girl. That's just, she just
so sweet.
Trust me. Every night, even if I'm sitting on the couch watching TV, not podcasting, it's just she has to come out and sit next to me and just be like, "Carry me to bed." I'm like, "You just walked past your bedroom. You couldn't have just went in and went to bed." Jesus, but I'll take it while I can get it, because in another 10 years she's probably gonna hate me. So as it goes,
Right.
But folks, I want to thank Dr. Kristian for coming on. It's been an amazing show, and I cannot wait for all the listeners to hear this, because not everybody watches, because I do this late at night. But until next time, you all know where you can find me. If you don't, what the fuck are we doing with 200 episodes? Jesus. But shame. But check the outro, and you know you can find me there. everywhere I'm found is in the outro or scrolling across the bottom of the screens you're watching. You know that. So please check it out. If you're new, go back like 2 years and start from the beginning. I need the listens, and there's a lot of great episodes in there. A lot of great episodes. Woo! I every single one of them is pretty much great, but well, okay, minus 2 or 3. We won't lie. We won't lie. People don't like when I lie, but check them all out and go check out Dr. K's podcast, please. It sounds amazing. I'm gonna have to check it out because I love when people talk about awakenings. It's just kind of one of my topics. But I will be back on not Wednesday because that's my daughter's birthday, but I will be back on Thursday with another paranormal interview with somebody else who's amazing as well, of course. I don't know what he is off the top of my head. I'll have to look into that. But I'll be back then as well. You all know I have a lot of shows, so don't try to remember everything. But till next time, all, have a good night and try to get. You can find me on Facebook as Jeremy Bryant, or you can find me as Uncensored, Unapologetic, and Untamed UQ Podcast Collective Facebook group. You can find me on Twitter and the Instagram as @JugglerBastard, or should I say X now. And you can find me on TikTok as @JugglerBastard Podcast. You can also find me on YouTube as Paranormal The New Normal. And you can also find me streaming on YouTube as Blind Knowledge Network, because all knowledge is blind until they admit Bigfoot exists.